What's happening, guys? Jason W. News Revolution down here in the cave for a start. I know you guys have been waiting for this. The start of the My Favorite LJN tournament. Round 2 is upon us. Round 2 is upon us. That's right. First, a good friend of the channel. In the comments section, his name is D-Mod. My man D-Mod has been a friend of the channel for a while, always active in the comments, and he recently had some health problems and some surgery, and then had some complications from the surgery, so I don't know if he's back from his second stay in the hospital or not. But he says that he's watching from his recovery bed, whether that's at home or in the hospital. And so we send all of our best wishes to D-Mod. D-Mod is watching us right now, and so I'm sure he could, enjoy all of your kind words in the comments and all of your best wishes, thoughts, and prayers to my man D-Mod. Now, he's a Savage fan, a Randy Savage fan. He is hoping that Randy Savage goes on, but unfortunately, Randy Savage is not in this round of matchups. He'll come a little later. But first, we decided to flip the brackets, and so now we're almost doing like a March Madness style. We're going the first winner is going to take on the last winner. So that would give us the following matches. First up, Jimmy Snuka versus White Trunk Tito Santana. Now, if you recall, in the first round, Tito Santana took on Terry Funk, I believe, and was eliminated early. And then we had a second chance to bring back Tito Santana as Strike Force Tito. Now, I never had Strike Force Tito, so what do I do here, right? So I was thinking, is it unfair to just keep pushing Tito along, even though, the White Trunk Tito Santana represents a different Santana, represents a different era of the WWF entirely, and a different era of play entirely. But he's going against Jimmy Snuka, who was not really all that used in my federation because he was gone when I was in the middle of most active play. He was gone. I didn't get Snuka until Christmas '85, and he was gone by then. All right, we saw him at WrestleMania, and then poof. So I am going to move one of these guys on heavily based on nostalgia. Okay, I don't think it's fair of me to move Tito on because he's White Trunk Tito. And I don't think that's fair. Jimmy Snuka would have a hard time moving on because he wasn't super active. But there is something very special about those first 5 figures. Something very, very special about the first 5 LJNs. And that's why I keep them completely separate on my shelf. And I still have to redo that shelf. I have not gotten to it yet. I got to figure it out. I got to redo that shelf. But I when I display the figures, I keep my first 5 separate. Because, they're just, and you've heard me say this before, they are visually iconic. And Jimmy Snuka's visual iconicness is enough for him to do the Superfly leap onto Tito Santana and eliminate him from the tournament. Jimmy Snuka is moving on to the next round. Why change the pink highlighter if it's not broke. All right. Next up. Hulk Hogan takes on Big Boss Man. Now, I actually had fun. I've told you before, I had a lot of fun with Big Boss Man when I got him. I really like this figure. I just think it's a good figure. It's a very bulky figure, though, right? It's a really oversized head. I don't know, just bulky. He's not tall. You know, he's fine height-wise, but he's big and bulky. And I just would, I mean, Hogan Boss Man matches I had with the LJNs a lot. Now, this match is actually kind of iconic match in Saturday night's main event history. You know, this is before like the WWF would do like super huge blowaway moves that are now done all the time, right? But on Saturday night's main event, Hogan and Bossman went at it in a steel cage. And if you recall, Hulk Hogan climbed to the cage with Bossman and did a back suplex kind of thing off of the third rope. I don't believe it was off the top of the cage. I don't think so. It was just off the top rope. And it wasn't, you know, like your snappy gut wrench Eddie Guerrero type suplex, German suplex. No, they just kind of fell. And of course, Vince McMahon sold it like it was the greatest thing in the world. And Hogan and Bossman laid dead in the middle of the ring for minutes and through a commercial break. Just laid there selling the heck out of the double fall from the top rope. Huge. Bossman is not going to be super easy to eliminate right off the bat. You're going to think, all right, Hogan wins in a landslide. Hogan wins, but not in a landslide. Really, if, you know, Bossman's a good figure. I truly do like this Bossman figure. But, guys, you know, it's the figure, right? It is the figure. This is the figure that the image of it, this kind of represents our childhood, right? The shape, this outline represents our childhoods. This figure is our childhoods. So, of course, the Hulkster skates his way into the next round. Next, we've got Iron Sheik and Haku. Iron Sheik and Haku. I told you that Haku was very active in my later years of play, and he was one of the black card series that I chose. I was allowed a few, and I chose Haku as one of them. This is not the figure that's on the back of the package. They for some reason completely scrapped the King Haku look and went with the Islander Haku look. Which made me think that maybe the Islanders were planned at one point for a tag team release, because, you know, Haku never really wore the Islanders trunks unless he was an Islander, right, as part of the tag team. And then when the figure prototypes are released on the back of the magazines, we see a very different Haku. We see purple trunks with white trim and a crown. And in fact, interestingly enough, the magazine says right in the ad, even in the early prototype ads, the magazine says this figure does not come with the crown as advertised. Tells you right off the bat, it's not coming with the crown. But it also didn't come with the purple trunks. Haku takes on the Iron Sheik with that beautiful XOX custom world title, that green belt that just pops this figure. So nice. I love it. Iron Sheik got so much play in my federation. Iron Sheik, again, one of the first five. It's going to be difficult to knock off, you know, somebody from the first five. I mean, Hogan and Andre or Andre and Stud had to go. But Iron Sheik is 1984 wrestling for me. Iron Sheik is 1984 WWF, and he's just one of those first five for me, and he is an iconic figure. A ton of play. I love this figure. He's going to be tough to beat. Iron Sheik humbles Haku and moves on to the next round. All right. Our next matchup, we've got World Tag Team Champion Greg the Hammer Valentine taking on Warlord. This is why I wanted to flip the brackets, because all of the guys that have moved on really needed to move on to the next round. Haku, or Warlord, is a fantastic figure. If we were just basing this off of presentation, appearance, Warlord would be tough to defeat. He's a great figure. But not one of the ones that I had. And he's got very bizarro world nipples, which we never understood. But he's great, and I was kind of fading from the WWF around this era. The Warlord, not the Powers of Pain era, but for some reason this isn't a Powers of Pain Warlord. It's like a standalone Warlord. It's not even like the Warlord that came back later on with the W on a stick. I don't know what it was back then, but it's a great figure. But I mean, Greg Valentine. I tell you, if I could go back, and I think I said this before, if I recorded my matches from beginning to end, jotted down every single match, I could almost promise you that Greg Valentine is at least in the top 3 of most matches ever in my LJN childhood. Most matches ever. I used him all the time. And he was up and down the ladder of success. A main eventer, a tag team champion, an intercontinental champion, of course. And one of my favorite play poses, one of my favorite figures, quite possibly my favorite figure, I don't know. The Hammer drops the elbow on Warlord and puts him in a childhood imagination figure 4, which is that. There it is. The figure 4 is locked in, ladies and gentlemen. We don't need articulation. We've got imagination. And Greg Valentine, easily moves on to the next round. Now, we got a little more time than I expected. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to throw you a bonus match. That's right. We're going to throw you a bonus match. The next match in the tournament is coming at you right now. The next match in the tournament is Brutus Beefcake taking on Outback Jack. Now, many of you were surprised that Outback Jack made it into the second round. I was surprised. Nothing wrong with this figure. Nothing wrong with it. It's good play pose, good accessory, good look, bad character, bad push, bad era of WWF. Then we've got Brutus Beefcake, and I'm watching right now. I'm up to like September or October. I'm up to October '84 in WWF, and Brutus Beefcake is here. He's in the WWF at the time. And if you recall, the way it happened was during a match on WWF TV, Brutus Beefcake would just strut around ringside. Right? And he would just, he would just walk and do his sunglasses and look around and walk and strut. And he had to do that. He had to fill like 10 minutes, right? Just walking around the ring with different facial expressions. And of course, you know, we were supposed to believe that, you know, who is this man? You know, the announcers are saying, who is this man? Right? But the security guards and the police officers are not tackling him and dragging him to the back. No, no. He gets to just strut around the ring. And that's his debut, Brutus Beefcake. So I'm watching that now. Brutus Beefcake got a ton of play in the LJN Federation. It's a great figure. It very easily defeats a decent figure, Outback Jack. Brutus Beefcake is moving on to the second round. So there's an unexpected bonus match for you. And we'll be back with the next matchups. Our next matchups are Paul Orndorff and Harley Race, Junkyard Dog and One Man Gang, Don Morocco and Jim Duggan, Bruno Sammartino and Ted DiBiase, and Randy Savage and Jim Neidhart. Those are our next round, next matchups of round 2. We'll do those tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out with me. We'll see y'all next time. Get well, D-Mod. Good night now.